The L Brands call is interesting, and you talk about, and we hear it all the time, especially with Bath and Body Works, that the value is clear. But you also say that the street is underappreciating or undervaluing Victoria's Secret. Say more about that, because that's not really an insight that we hear a lot of.
Absolutely, and I go back to a couple of years ago. Tyler and I had a very fun conversation on Victoria's Secret. I couldn't come on and not bring that back. So reflecting on how times have changed, I think that it's fascinating because if you think about it, it's the first time in recent history that retailers have to ask themselves or are allowed to ask themselves which stores they want to open, not which stores they want to close. So you have this hopefully once in a lifetime opportunity to completely refashion your business and decide Wall Street is no longer forcing me to grow. How healthy should I be? And that might mean selling fewer goods at higher prices. I think that's the opportunity Victoria's Secret has in front of them. And I think that's the underappreciated opportunity that we'll see play out.
I guess we'll soon see. Greg, so you like Home Depot, Best Buy, and Costco. Certainly the pandemic plays. One thing that I've heard a lot of, certainly about Home Depot and Best Buy, is that they were all strong going into the pandemic. They've grown because of the pandemic, and they'll be better off post-pandemic. Is that how you see it? I mean, what's your view here?
Yeah, to try and figure out who can take this current strength and translate it into long-term success, we're looking at who's good at multi-channel, who's good at nesting, and who could benefit if de-densification becomes a trend. And we think Home Depot, Best Buy, and Costco are three. We have other names as well, but those are three we think are very well positioned to even, not just now, but into the year's future, take advantage of it.
Heading into the fall season and the winter season, it's hard to believe that that's already upon us, but what happens to the all-important back-to-school season? I think it was a note yesterday from Piper Sandler about how Best Buy will certainly stand to benefit because with all the virtual learning, sales of consumer electronics will be up. But what about, when you used to buy your back-to-school clothing? I mean, if you're at home, of course, you don't need that. So what about all of the back-to-school shopping that will no longer happen? Black Friday, will people be crowding into malls in the midst of COVID? And even Christmas shopping, that's right around the corner.
Well, we upgraded Best Buy a couple months ago precisely on that thesis, which is that they are well positioned in a multi-channel world. They built their multi-channel business, e-commerce, to almost 20% by the end of last year. And when they closed all their stores, they kept almost 90% of their sales when they went to curbside. So what happened at Best Buy is that once they fully reopened their stores in mid-June, we think they're probably comping in the double digits since that time. And it's important that we as a society get back to school. We think that's critical to get the economy to full recovery. But in a way, Best Buy sort of wins either way, whether they go back to school and you need a new computer or phone for that, or you're going to be working and studying from home in the future. You're going to need to fix up the home and get that home office ready to study or work.
Yeah, Best Buy certainly.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, Best Buy certainly does make sense. One thing that I think is really interesting, Simeon, is that you like Planet Fitness. That's an interesting call because it does certainly appear that gyms are falling, unfortunately, left and right. Talk more about Planet Fitness.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was actually going to follow up on Greg's point. I think what we've started talking about is embracing both professionally and personally this idea that we're in the current normal rather than the new norm. I think the hope or belief that we're going to be in any period of stasis within the next 6 months to a year just seems optimistic. So it's adopting and it's kind of recognizing who can be nimble. So figuring out who's going to be able to win in either scenario matters. So on that one side of our barbell, we have the L brands. On the other side of our barbell, probably similar to Greg's picks, are the companies in my world that will be market share takers that might not be able to do all that well right now as things are closed, but will benefit from the dislocation amongst their group on the other side of this. And I think TJX, I put them together for a reason. They might not seem that similar, but I think TJX and Planet Fitness are both businesses that offer value, that offer a compelling offering that essentially is a non-COVID play while COVID is going on, but both stand to benefit from the dislocation on the other side. So as the department stores continue to shrink, more people will walk into the off-pricers. As the fitness environment continues to fall upon itself, there are people that will no longer have gyms, and Planet Fitness will be waiting there with open arms.